Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of News Broadcast on God's Eye. In today's news, we would be talking about Ukraine's progress in recapturing some of its cities and pushing the Russians back. First, take a second of your time and hit the subscription button and turn on the notification bell for latest updates. Putin is under pressure as he fears Kremlin ally Kyiv will soon bomb Moscow. Watch the pressure on Russia is mounting as its leader suffers a series of humiliating setbacks in Ukraine. Russia's former deputy foreign minister suggested that Kyiv could even bomb Russia, including Moscow, given the state of war. In a conversation on Russian state television, another expert suggested a ban on discussing Lyman's recent takeover by Ukraine. Former deputy foreign minister and senior Russian diplomat Andrei Fedorov warned that the loss of Lyman, a strategic city in eastern Ukraine, could spell further setbacks for Russia. He suggested that Ukraine might even bomb Moscow, explaining this is why Ukraine is going to war for the liberation of these territories. It's a war, not some kind of special operation. Fedorov said Ukrainian forces could directly attack deep into Russian territory. When asked if Moscow could be attacked, a senior Kremlin diplomat bluntly replied, "Yes, of course." Later in the show, commentator Maxim Yushin admitted that pundits were asked not to discuss the recent defeat in Ukraine in the locker room. Yushin made a rare confession on national television, stating when the host denied that the topic was banned, the commentator said, "Ask someone here when you're in the locker room." I think everyone honestly admits that they don't know whether mobilization will help change the course of hostilities. I can't recall any precedent in the history of the world of a territory being annexed by a country that we don't control. So far, things haven't gone well. It is easier to say after the liberation of Zaporozhye. Yes, try removing it. An incredible exchange shared by Julia Davis, who follows Russia's state media, shows the changing expectations of war in Russia in the face of real war casualties. An incredible exchange shared by Russian state media follower Julia Davis shows the changing expectations of war in Russia as it grapples with the reality of war victims. Reality is creeping up on the unsuspecting Russian state broadcaster. Experts say Lyman shouldn't be mentioned, although the host denies this. He says we all know things are not going well for the Russian military. Another expert says Kyiv may start bombing Moscow. According to the unit commander, Ukrainian anti-aircraft guns were able to shoot down the Russian aircraft without firing a missile. Yaroslav Melnik, in an interview with his Armyinform, a news agency affiliated with the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, told about the collision of his Buk M1 anti-aircraft missile with his battery. "We spotted the target and turned on the radar lights. That's when the Russian pilot's cockpit rang out warning signals of radar exposure." According to the machine translation of the interview, he found himself targeted by a hunter, Melnik said. The signal likely frightened the pilot of the Russian plane so much that he quickly escaped and their plane crashed. During the Russian invasion, Melnik reportedly destroyed 28 targets, including 11 types of fighter aircraft, 2 helicopters, 2 cruise missiles, and 13 unmanned aerial vehicles UAVs. He is the owner of his country's highest national title, Hero of Ukraine, which was presented to him by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during the celebration of the Air Force Day of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. According to Ukrainian law, this title can only be awarded to civilians who have been awarded a national medal, or to military personnel who have been awarded the Order of Gold Star for outstanding heroism or outstanding achievement. Russia has lost 236 planes and 206 helicopters and other military equipment since the outbreak of hostilities from 24 February to Monday, according to the latest casualty report from the Chief of the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Oryx, an open-source analytics initiative that tracks military equipment losses, was able to visually confirm the destruction of 50 Russian aircraft and 48 helicopters in the ongoing conflict. The Russian Air Force, officially known as the Russian Aerospace Forces in 2021, operates more than 2,850 fighter jets and helicopters, according to an analysis conducted in partnership with Brazilian aircraft manufacturer Embraer. Rice Field. In contrast, the Ukrainian Air Force at that time had about 113 fighters and